Konnichiwa minasan. Hey friends, how are you? Welcome to Settle Japan YouTube channel. This is a place where we talk about Japan, the Japanese culture, and the Japanese language. This is the series called Japanese Lessons for Beginners, and today is lesson 104. The topic for today is negative form of adjectives. So friends, we had discussed about adjectives in Japanese grammar in two lessons. One was lesson 94 in which we discussed the e adjectives and lesson 97 where we discussed na adjectives. So today we will see the negative form of both e and na adjectives. But before going into the negative form, let's recap what we know about e adjectives and na adjectives. So e adjectives are pure Japanese words, that is words that are from the Japanese origin. Whereas na adjectives are imported from foreign words and mainly Chinese origin words. The e adjectives generally end in the e sound. For example, oki for big, chisai for small, atsui for hot, samui for cold. The na adjectives do not end in e sound. Example, Genki, Shizuka, Nigiaka. Genki is healthy, Shizuka is quiet, Nigiaka is lively. So there are exceptions in both types of adjectives. For example, Murasaki, which is for purple color, it doesn't end in E. Similarly, Midori also doesn't end in E. But again, in now objectives also, there are some exceptions. For example, kirei. So it ends in E sound, but it is not an E adjective because this is from a foreign word. So kirei, beautiful, kirai, dislike. So these are na adjectives, although they end in the E sound. The E adjectives follow AN format. AN stands for adjective noun. For example, omoshiroi shoshetsu o yomimashita. That means I read an interesting novel. Omoshiroi is interesting, shoshetsu is novel. So adjective noun, then particle o and then the verb. Similarly, sore wa atsui ocha desu. Atsui hot, ocha is tea. So hot tea, atsui ocha. So it follows the adjective noun format. There is nothing in between them. But in case of na adjectives, there is the na sound between the adjective and the noun. That is the na character, it joins the adjective with the noun. Kirei na onna no hito desu. That means beautiful woman. Similarly, genki na kodomo desu. Healthy child. So in this way, we can differentiate between the e adjectives and the na adjectives. Friends, if you have not watched yet these two lessons, lesson 94 and lesson 97, please go back to the playlist section of this channel. Click on the Japanese lessons for beginners playlist and look for these two lessons before proceeding further in today's lesson. So now let's move to negative form of e adjectives. So first we will look at the negative form of e adjectives and then for the na adjectives. So how do we make the negative form of e adjective? Suppose there is an adjective, then we delete the e sound at the end, then we add a ku sound at the end, and if there is des, then we can omit that, and in place of that we can write or we can say arimasen. So arimasen is basically from the root word aru, which you already know, and we have discussed it in extensive details in our previous lessons. So what does this mean then? So let's take an example. Oki. Oki means big. Oki des becomes okiku arimasen. So we have removed the e sound as we said here. E sound is removed, a ku sound is added. So okiku, and then in place of this we have arimasen. That means it's not big. Oki des means it's big, and okiku arimasen means it is not big. It doesn't mean it is small, but it means it is not big. Let's take one more example. Chisai desu. So chisai becomes chisaku arimasen. Chisaku arimasen. chisaku arimasen. Okiku okiku arimasen and chisaku arimasen. And in the positive form, it is oki desu, chisai desu. Shiroi desu becomes shiroku arimasen. So this is the formula. Adjective minus e plus ku minus des plus arimasen. Now, if we look at the informal version, so arimasen, as you already know, it is the formal version of aru verb. Now, if we take the informal negative form of aru, it is nai. So it becomes adjective minus e plus ku plus nai. So oki des becomes oki kunai des. So this will still be there, but it will become oki kunai. So we have to just replace the e sound with kunai. So oki becomes o kunai. Chisai chisakunai. Shiroi shirokunai. So now let's take a small conversation. Friends, this time we have not provided the Romaji version of this because now we are at the 104th lesson. So it is high time that we start reading the characters, at least the hiragana we must be able to read, and we will provide Romaji version of some other conversations which where there will be some complicated kanji characters and all. That's fine, but for the simple ones, let's try to read together the Japanese text. So this is Tanaka. As you can see, Tanaka-san says, "Are wa nan desu ka?" So let's read slowly so that you can also follow. Tanaka-san says, "Are wa nan desu ka?" Then this is Suzuki. Suzuki-san says, "Are wa jitensha no kojo desu." Jitensha no kojo desu. So we will come to the meaning, but let's first read. Then Tanaka-san says, "Kojo wa ookii desu ka?" Suzuki, "Iie, ookiku arimasen. Chisai kojo desu." So from the color coding, you might have understood what the conversation is all about. So now let's look at these lines one by one and let's try to translate. So the first line is Tanaka-san says, "Areva nan desu ka?" It means what is that? Areva means Areva we use when something is far away from both the speaker and the listener. So Areva nan desu ka, that means Tanaka-san is pointing to some building to Suzuki-san and asking him, what is that building? Then Suzuki-san says, "Areva jitensha no kojo desu." Jitensha is bicycle. So this is the kanji of sha or kuruma, that is car, which is used in this jitensha. So this is the onyomi reading of kuruma, which is sha, jitensha. So jitensha no kojo means bicycle factory. That's a bicycle factory. Then Tanaka-san says, "Kojo wa ookii desu ka?" Is the factory big? And then finally Suzuki-san says, "Iie, ookiku arimasen. Chisai kojo desu." That means no, it's not big, it's a small factory. So we see here the negative form of oki, which is ookiku arimasen. So let's look at one more conversation. Again, conversation between Tanaka and Suzuki. So here Tanaka-san says, "Kino no tanjobi no party wa doko deshita ka?" So very simple. Kino no tanjobi no party wa doko deshita ka? Suzuki-san says, "Party wa tomodachi no uchi de arimashita." Tanaka, "Kaijou wa hiroi deshita ka?" Suzuki, "Iie, hiroku arimasen deshita. Demo, demo, nigiyaka na party deshita." So now let's go through this conversation line by line and look at the meaning. First one is Tanaka-san says, "Kino no tanjobi no party wa doko deshita ka?" Where was the birthday party yesterday? Very simple. Suzuki-san says, Party wa tomodachi no uchi de arimashita. The party was at a friend's house. So this use of de particle we had learnt in the last lesson. Uchi de arimashita. So that means event. Place, de, event. So that concept is applied here. So if you did not watch the last lesson, please watch that. We have discussed in detail about the use of de particle to connect a place with the event. So uchi de arimashita. Party wa uchi de arimashita. So kaijo wa hiroi deshita ka? Kaijo means the hall. Was the hall spacious? Hiroi is the adjective here which means spacious or like it's a big room. So kaijo wa hiroi deshita ka? Was the hall spacious? Then Suzuki-san says, Ie hiroku arimasen deshita. That means no, it was not spacious. Demo. Demo means but nigiyaka na party deshita. But it was a lively party. So nigiyaka na party. So this is the na adjective. Nigiyaka is na adjective, and that's why there is na between the adjective and the noun, as we just saw in the previous slide. So this is a very good and simple conversation to understand both the adjectives e and na, and also how we write the negative form of the e adjective, and also the use of de particle to connect place with the event. So now let's look at some more examples of negative form of e adjectives. Shousetsu wa omoshiroi desu ka? As you know, shousetsu means novel and omoshiroi means interesting. So is the novel interesting? Omoshiro kunai desu. Omoshiro kunai desu means no, it's not interesting. Now, what do you see here, friends? There are two pencils. One is long, one is short. So, what's the question? Empitsu wa nagai desu ka? Nagai means long. So, we have seen this in lesson 94 about all these adjectives. Empitsu wa nagai desu ka? Is the pencil long? So, the answer is Hidari no empitsu wa nagai desu. Hidari, as you all know, this is the kanji for hidari, which is left. Hidari no empitsu means the pencil on the left side wa nagai desu is long. The left side pencil is long. Now, migi no empitsu wa nagaku nai desu. This is the right hand side pencil. Migi means right side. So migi no empitsu means the pencil on the right side is short or it's not long. So the right pencil is not long. Mijikai desu. It's short. So in this way, you can practice, friends, you can practice using the adjectives that we discussed in lesson 94 for the e adjectives, and using those adjectives you can try making sentences for their negative forms, just like this. Kaban wa omoi desu ka? Omoi means heavy and kaban is bag. So is the bag heavy? Omokunai desu. It's not heavy, or omoku arimasen. So kunai, as we said, we can use both kunai as well as ku arimasen. So kunai is the informal version, ku arimasen is the formal version. Both can be used. It's not heavy. Gohan wa oishii desu ka? Is the food delicious? Oishii kunai desu. Mazui desu. Oishii kunai desu means it's not delicious. Mazui desu means it tastes bad. It tastes awful. So now let's look at the list of some of the very common e adjectives and their negative versions. Interesting, omoshiroi, omoshirokunai, or omoshiroku arimasen. Spacious, hiroi, hirokunai, hiroku arimasen. Expensive, takai, takakunai, takaku arimasen. Small, chisai, chisakunai, or chisaku arimasen. Hot, atsui, atsukunai. Cold, samui, samukunai. Slow, osoi, osokunai. Red, akai, akakunai. Dark, kurai, kurakunai. Or kuraku arimasen. Now let's look at some na adjectives, negative forms of na adjectives. So now what's the rule? The rule is that the positive form is adjective na noun des, as we have seen in the recap section. So adjective na noun des in the negative form becomes adjective na noun deva arimasen. So it's very simple. This we have already discussed before. And the informal version is deva nai. So it's the same arimas, arimasen, aru, nai. So example, Shizuka na hito desu. Shizuka na hito desu means quiet person, a quiet person. And the negative will be Shizuka na hito deva arimasen or Shizuka na hito deva nai. Or also there is another informal version which is ja nai. In place of deva, we use ja. Shizuka na hito ja arimasen or Shizuka na hito ja nai. Now the na adjectives can be used in the other way around as well. For example, noun by adjective this. So in this case, again, it remains the same. Noun by adjective deva arimasen, noun by adjective devanai, noun by adjective ja arimasen, noun by adjective janai. So the same example, kono hito wa shizuka desu. That means this person is quiet. This person is a quiet person. So kono hito wa shizuka desu, and the negative form becomes kono hito wa shizuka deva arimasen or kono hito wa shizuka devanai or kono hito wa shizuka janai or ja arimasen. So in this way we can translate the na adjectives to their negative forms. So now let's look at some of the commonly used na adjectives. Genki, genki deva arimasen or genki devanai. Kirei, beautiful. Kirei deva arimasen, it's not beautiful. So although kirei ends in e, it is not an e adjective, but it's an I adjective. Shizuka, we have already seen. Kirai, like dislike. So kirai deva arimasen means I don't dislike. Nigiaka, lively, enthusiastic. So it becomes Nigiaka devanai. It's not lively. Hima, free time or leisure, that is free. So Hima deva arimasen or Hima devanai or Hima janai means I am not free. Watashi wa hima deva arimasen or Watashi wa hima devanai. That means I am not free. Rippa, influential, plush or elegant. So Rippa devanai. Benri deva arimasen, it's not convenient. If I say Benri deva arimasen means it's not convenient. Majime, true character or laborious. Majime devanai means the person is lazy or is not laborious. Kantan, easy. Kantan devanai, it's not easy. Yume, famous, popular. Kareva yume desu, or we can say Kareva yume deva arimasen. That means he is not famous, he is not popular. Teinei, polite or humble. Teinei deva arimasen, he is not or the person is not polite. Shinsetsu, kind. Shinsetsu deva arimasen or shinsetsu ja arimasen, he is not kind. Jozu, good at or proficient. So Jozu devanai or Jozu janai. Suteki, stylish or nice. Suteki deva arimasen or devanai. So friends, that's it for today. We discussed about the negative forms of both e and na adjectives. Hope the lesson has been useful to you. So we will meet again in the next lesson, which is 105 soon. Till then, do keep studying, and this is the list of all the lessons that we have done so far. So do keep watching all these old videos as well, so that you do not forget all those concepts and you keep revising. So till we meet again, thanks for watching this video. Arigato gozaimasu. Matai masho.